music? Oh, I don't know about background music when we do an ASMR. Hi, hello. Oh, fine. I have background sound. I can make that. You do deserve background music, but not today. I feel like Nala's gonna do ASMR, yes. Still sleeping, but be here soon, okay. So, how does it sound? I am not completely in front of the microphone. I'm not, well, at least Nala is chill. I'm not completely in front of the microphone. I'm trying to do a bit more soft speaking. Sounds the same, okay. How is the background sound? I have sounds like fire sounds and crickets. Crickets. Can you hear those or not so well? I can pump up the volume. Nope, you can't hear them. Okay. I also saw there was a tap. You're deaf. I also saw there was a tapping redeem. I will do that in a little bit. 1 second. Hello, Zerkri. Thank you for being here. Have a good lurk. Hi, Moon. Okay, how is it now? Can you hear the fire now? Yeah, today we're just gonna be doing some reading, some soft spoken reading of spooky stories. For the beginning, I was browsing Reddit and I have some spooky encounters. So I have those for the beginning to warm up a little bit. Also, I have to drink a bit. I'm gonna do the tapping. Tappy. You can hear the fire now? That's good. Yeah, I have turned off most of the redeems because I really want to focus on the reading. How are you guys doing? Happy 1st of November. I hope you had a good Halloween. You're doing well, thanks. That's nice. I'm good too. Oops. I dropped the hand cream that I'm tapping on. I'm good too. I didn't have a coffee yet. I tried to have coffee a bit later on in the day and not from the beginning. It's working well, I think. Oops, I dropped the mic. Well, I didn't drop the mic. So, wait a second, let me say my hellos properly. Hello, Mr. Bantam. Mr. Bantam is having food, I think. Hello, or sleeping. Hello, Fiasco. Hello, Pixel. Hello, Decora. Hello, Zerkri. Hello, Moonsichel. The Alien Cube. Is that a horror game? I don't know this game. but it has alien in the name, so that's nice. Hi, Xanathar. That was your spooky game for Halloween? I will have to check the VOD. I like to watch spooky gameplay. I haven't spoken this yet, not much today yet. Maybe just a little bit with the cats. And that was it. So my voice is a bit not used to talking. Didn't jump at any part of the gameplay. Well, I will see. Okay. So without further ado, let me go into the... Wait, I want to have the dashboard. Who were you again? I'm Ivory. I'm Ivory. I'm an alien. Hello, Neil. Happy birthday, Neil. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Neil. Happy birthday to you. It's such a weird feeling. Well, too late. Too late. So, as I said, I have looked up some creepy encounters. Some of them might be not so creepy. Hi, Hill. Hi, how are you? I'm good. So, I turned 23 right and I woke up my feeling, but I worked out the day before. 23, that's still so young. That's still so young. Very, very young. Oh, to be 23 again. My body hurts so much. I think this could be... Were you out partying yesterday, maybe? Maybe you were partying. It was too cold, okay. What do you mean you're 20? Average Hill. Neil is 23. I am 301, I think, at this time. I don't... At some point you just lose track. At some point you lose track of the years that you lived as an alien. The numbers become meaningless. They become meaningless. We don't get invited to parties. Some of you are some of you do. I know that. See, Fiasco went to a party. Fiasco went to a party. Okay. I gotta be back. Take care, please. Drive carefully. So, let's start our reading. If you're getting sleepy, and you are, what a lovely scarf you have in the webcam feed. You mean the cat? That's a little kitty. That's nice. mean is that you are only, no, I am 301. I am 301 years old. So if you're at a place where you're able to fall asleep and you're safe to fall asleep and you're feeling sleepy, just like I do, then I hope that you can fall asleep and have a good nap with those creepy stories, the creepy encounters that I will be reading now. You don't look a day over 200. Why, thank you, Hill. Thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you. So, let's start our reading. The first story is called A Gut Feeling. Reginald, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the spaceship. I hope you enjoy your stay here. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Reginald. 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 Thank you, thank you. A Gut Feeling. This happened about 11 years ago, when I was about 16. Those days after school let out, my grandparents would drop me off at a local youth center. It was a very small old building on a rundown street. Right next to the youth center there was a bar. I had been told time and time again to never play around outside, since the area was rough. Anything could happen. Now, for a little extra context, the youth center receptionist or guide sat at a desk and watched over everyone. Also, they had a camera system mounted on a wall inside to ensure visitors in the front area were safe. One day, there was 4 of us at the center. We were all doing our own thing, working on homework, reading, playing games. Kyle, a friend I had made at the center, stopped by. Thank you for the water, Tom. Hi, welcome. Now Kyle was a grade above me, nice enough too, but he was a little bossy. Anyway, he grew bored sitting with us and said he wanted some air, pressuring, "Come on, are you seriously scared?" At this time, it was getting dark out. I could see the sky going back black from the front window. For some reason, we still followed him outside. I remember trailing him across the street to a big dirt full of debris. We all huddled together, laughing and dancing and just goofing. That is, until we saw a strange man waddling down the empty streets toward us. Is it not debris? I thought you say debris to the debris. Is it debris? Am I saying this wrong? Debris? Is it debris? Debris, debris, debris. It's debris. I'm being a goof. I see, okay. The what? The debris. He was about 30, had tousled neck-length brown hair, was skinny, pale, dressed in a dirty hoodie and jeans. He was smiling a lot, like creeper-level smile. Hey, he rasped. You're kids having fun?" Kyle was unfazed, cheerfully answered with a duh. The rest of us were quiet, put off by the man's arrival. "Wanna come hang with me?" The moment stays with me because I remember getting a bad feeling in my stomach, like I knew he could hurt us. And then the man tucked a hand into his hoodie, slow, deliberate. Kyle and I started making a bunch of noise, and we all booked it back across the street. I heard the man's hyena shriek laughter as we ran into the center. I am forever grateful that we got out of the situation safe. After that scare, I continued to visit the center. I never mentioned the incident to my family, but I was much more careful staying indoors. Always trust your gut. That's true. If you're having a gut feeling about something, and it's a weird situation, trust your gut. Who knows what this dude could have had in his hoodie pocket, especially in a weird area like this. Speaking of hoodie, I have to put on my hoodie because I'm getting a bit cold. 1 second. This is much better. Much better. If you have suggestions for me to read, then please let me know. Can you come by later and read me a bedtime story? I can't do that, but you're welcome to stay here to fall asleep. Or maybe watch the VOD. So if you have suggestions for me to read creepy stories, please let me know. Of course, they shouldn't be too long. Or if you have a favorite creepypasta or something like that. The next one I have here is called The Man at the Bus Stop. This incident occurred a few years ago when I was in my early 20s. I had a part-time job that required me to work late, and since I didn't have a car, I relied on public transportation to get home. Most nights it was uneventful, but one particular evening stands out vividly in my memory. I had just finished my shift and made my way to the bus stop. It was past 11 p.m. and the area was unusually quiet. As I stood there, checking the bus schedule on my phone, I noticed a man sitting a few feet away, staring intently in my direction. His presence made me feel uneasy, but I tried to brush it off as simply being a bit paranoid. The man, probably in his late 30s, had a disheveled appearance. Apologies if I get an English word wrong. His eyes seemed fixated on me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that he was watching my every move. Ignoring the discomfort, I continued looking at my form, pretending to be absorbed in the screen. Minutes passed, and the bus was running late. As I glanced up from my phone, I noticed the man had moved closer. He He was now standing just a few steps away, staring directly at me. I felt a surge of anxiety, but I didn't want to draw attention to myself by making a scene. Trying to appear nonchalant, I took a step back, closer to the edge of the well-lit bus stop area. The man mirrored my movements, and that's when my heart began to race. He started muttering something under his breath, his gaze fixed on me, and I realized he was inching even closer. My instincts screamed at me that something wasn't right. I tried to catch the eyes of the occasional passerby, hoping for someone to notice the situation, but it seems that we were alone in the late-night emptiness. The bus finally appeared around the corner, and relief washed over me. I quickly gathered my things, keeping an eye on the man, and made a beeline for the bus doors. As I stepped onto the bus, the man hesitated for a moment, and then abruptly turned and walked away, disappearing into the darkness. I immediately alerted the bus driver about the unsettling encounter, and they assured me they'd keep an eye out. I found a seat near the front, feeling a mix of relief and lingering fear. Though nothing more happened that night, the incident left me shaken. I couldn't shake off the feeling that man's intentions were entirely benign. From that night on, I made sure to be extra cautious when commuting late at night, always aware of my surroundings and never ignoring any gut feelings that warned of potential danger. To the man at the bus stop, let's not meet again. Oh, hello Anima, have a good lurk. Thank you for being here. Oh, that's creepy. I have had my fair share of creepy encounters. I don't know. In the darkness at a bus stop, that's really something different. Aye. You gotta be trusting your gut feeling. Why is Senator shaking? Let me have a drink, a sip of water. It's too spooky. Oh no. Too spooky. Let's see. I have 2 more prepared. And then I will have to look a bit around. Okay. The next one is called Creepy Guy at a Haunted House. He was not one of the actors. I had a creepy encounter the night I'm writing this. My parents opened up a haunted house in my dad's shop, and we had a few actors. Names were obviously changed to their role. The actors were me, my dad, my mom, my sister, Bear, Ghostface, Cheerleader, Alien, Prisoner, Doll, and Skeleton. I know it's a lot. Let me explain. It's not it's a haunted home. Yeah. Let me explain how the setup was. The shop has a store in the front, a gym in the middle, a storage in the back. Dad would lead the patron into the storefront and ring the bell to let us know to get ready. Then the patron would pass Bear and Ghostface, Then they would have jump scared by cheerleader, me and prisoner, and then pass through the rest. Alien would follow them. Simple. So when we were near the end of our time, Dad let in a guy. You know, like normal. I don't want to profile him, but he seemed to be a bit of Arabic descent or Muslim because he seemed to be wearing his clothes. He shall be known as a creepy guy. I think now I should mention most of us are minors. Sister, Bear, Ghostface, and Skeleton are middle schoolers, and Cheerleader, Alien, and I are high schoolers. Minors or minors? Minors. Minors. Maybe they were also working in the mines, but they are minors. Creepy guy touched Bear's shoulder and almost pulled a knife on Bear and Ghostface. After he passed them, he didn't notice Cheerleader, but grabbed Alien and scratched his arm. After that, he stared at Prisoner and ignored me. He then started speaking in a different language. It sounded like chanting, but I don't know, towards Skeleton, Doll and Sister. Mom then ran him off. We were on the edge for the rest of the night. Oh, that is really scary. Imagine you just want to have fun in a haunted house and then something like this happens. My God, that's the reason I don't go to haunted houses. That's creepy. So creepy. This can also be very dangerous. This is scary. So scary. So scary. Hello, Tavarmo. Hello. Okay, let's see. I will go and look up some creepypasta. Most of them, they're just they are the story I found sounds good. The comment under it says, God no, if that happened to me, I'll be packing my bags. Oh yeah, can you link it? Nala. She woke up. The kitty woke up. Yes. Oops. Number 4. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Oh, they are quite short, but that's okay. A few years ago, my brother would get a call on his cell phone around 2 to 3 a.m. every night. He would answer, and it was this hellish sounding noise. Like static mixed with screams. He changed his cell number after a month of this and it stopped. Then, after a week or so, it began again. The exact same noise, exact same time. Finally, one day he decided to back dial the call. It was an old man that had no clue what he was talking about. Still, the calls persisted. If he didn't answer, it would call a few more times. No messages were left. He decided to say screw it, ended his contract with his phone company, switched to a new one, and then got another new number. You guessed it, the screaming static calls continued after a short delay. But this time, he was terrified every night. Unsure why this was happening, he backdialed the number and again, but he got a different person. Around this time, he lost his job and his phone. The calls stopped, of course. His phone was disconnected now. So one day, my mom asks me to listen to this weird message she got on our home phone. It was the static screaming. We showed my brother and he was freaking out. He backdialed the number again and he said it was disconnected this time. Never heard from it again after that. What the heck? Supernatural stuff can be just so, I don't know. I don't even know it was supernatural or something. That's creepy. That's very creepy. That is very creepy. Oh no, no, no. What if they just didn't pay their phone bill? I mean, you don't pay your phone bill and you get terrorized by hellish screams. That was a good stretch. 1 second. Nala, no. Oh no. For not paying my bill, I'll be not surprised. Okay, but from 2 to 3 a.m. Come back, Nala. Come back. What is she doing? I don't know. She's doing funny things. Wait, I had this page. They outsourced the reps from the Shadow Realm, obviously. Obviously. Let's see. Oh, I have this page. There are a ton of very short stories, but there is a bunch of them. We can read them. I'm just not sure what this cat is planning to do. Okay. This story is called I Hate It When My Brother Charlie Has to Go Away. I hate it when my brother Charlie has to go away. My parents constantly try to explain to me how sick he is. That I am lucky for having a brain where all the chemicals flow properly to their destinations like undammed rivers. When I complain about how bored I am without a little brother to play with, they try to make me feel bad by pointing out that his boredom likely far surpasses mine, considering he's confined to a dark room in an institution. I always beg for them to give him one last chance. Of course, they did at first. Charlie has been back home several times, each shorter in duration than the last. Every time without fail, it all starts again. The neighborhood cats with gauged out eyes showing up in his toy chest. My dad's razors found dropped on the baby slide at the park across the street. Mom's vitamins replaced by bits of dishwasher in the tablets. My parents are hesitant now, using last chances very sparingly. They say his disorder makes him charming, makes it easy for him to fake normalcy and to trick the doctors who care for him into thinking he's ready for rehabilitation. That I will just have to put up with my boredom if it means staying safe from him. I hate it when Charlie has to go away. It makes me want to pretend to be good until he's back. Oh, that's... Hi, Swift Bee. Hi. How are you doing? Welcome. We have a story here called Seeing Red, or The First Day of School. You had a good idea? Let me know. I am open for good ideas. Can we have this in the background? Wait a second. On loop. Let's see. But it's the stories that you show. Don't worry. It's the wrong website. That can happen. I'm Tomayev. No, you're not. Oh, it's YouTube. Wait a second. Let's see if I can have this on loop. On this other page, I am not using YouTube anymore. David, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, that's nice. But I don't know if I can loop it like this. Wait a second. The thing is, when I use YouTube, they're gonna be ads at some point. Should I call you Ivy? Yes, you can do that. Ich bin Schnappi, das kleine Krokodil. Kaz, are you good? Let's see. This is good, but I don't think... Wait a second. I'm good. How are you doing? I'm good. I have an idea. I know what I can do. I know what I can do. Just give me 3 minutes. I'll just be humming some sounds while I'm doing things. Kaz, do you have creepypasta. Maybe I could read some. Okay. The next thing might be a bit loud. Wait a second. Can you hear it? Wait a second. Okay, you can hear it? Richard, do. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the spaceship. Wait, I can't hear it. Yes, I can't hear it. I have to, wait. Advanced audio. Advanced audio properties. Where is it? Media source 2. Now I can hear it too. Oh, nice. Yeah, now we have the creepy. It's not fit for Twitch. Yeah, it has to be suited for work. Okay. One second. I'll be right back. Disney race car game. Wait a second, Cass has sent me a story. Ooh. Is it fun? Okay. Welcome back, thank you. Okay. It's super fun. Okay, I might check it out. Okay. So, let me know if that was fun. If the story is fine, should be. I'm sure it doesn't have any. It doesn't have any markings for not suited for work or something. Should be fine. Okay. This one is a bit longer, but that's fine. Let me know if the sounds are good like this or if they are too loud or too quiet. I will also be sipping on my coffee that I have now. Okay. Audio balance is great. That's good. That's nice. So, this story is called Cabin in the Mountains. It began as a freak snowstorm. I've been hiking and camping in the... God damn it, Nala. Come here. Come here, Nala. Come here. Okay, I think she needs... That's the most scary story name ever. It is. I've been hiking and camping in the woods outside of Kashmir since I was in high school. It was a spot I used to like to come to with my friends before they all got too busy and returned to nature every now and again. The wilderness in North Georgia is just so beautiful. It's a great place to immerse yourself in nature and return to your roots. This weekend, however, I found myself at nature's mercy instead of its beauty. Well, maybe not nature. The longer I stay here, the more I suspect something insidious might be in this place. When I had set up my tent Friday afternoon, the temperature had been a little crisp, but nothing out of the ordinary. Spring has been in bloom, and it seemed unthinkable that it could get below 50 degrees in the daytime. I had been meaning to hike deeper before coming back out again on Sunday. But when I woke up to find snow, I decided my weekend might be a bust. After gathering the gear I could find, I began hiking back to my truck, but I must have gotten turned around. As the day frittered out, I realized how lost I became. My usual landmarks were either covered in snow or changed so drastically that I didn't even recognize them. My compass was also no help. The needle kept turning and turning, leading me in circles as I wandered through the snow. As I got more and more turned around, the night began to creep up on me. I was soon watching the sunset as I thought about whether or not to put up my tent or keep walking. And that was when I saw the light. It was a small, like a candle on a windowsill. I had never seen any houses out in the woods before, but it was possible that someone had built one in the 6 or 8 months since I last been out here. I began heading into that direction, and as I did, I saw a cabin begin to materialize amidst the snow. A candle was burning in the windowsill, and I approached. I began to look for signs of life. I saw no four-wheeler or any means of getting in and out, and the thought of someone just living in the woods was a little strange. I was certain to make a little noise, whistling and crunching loudly through the snow, so as not to startle someone who might not want company. The cabin was not the sort of pre-made ones you sometimes saw in showrooms. It looked to have been made out of sturdy trees, and the wood looked new and raw. Someone had built this recently, and it made me even more aware of whoever was inside. It was pretty likely that a gun lived there as well, and it was in no hurry to be a squib in the local paper. As I knocked on the door, I felt a little like Goldilocks trying to introduce myself to the 3 bears. I don't know what possessed me, but when no one answered the door, I tried the knob. It opened easily, the door having not even been locked, and I stepped out of the snow to find a fire roaring in the grate of the 1-bedroom cabin. It was humble, a bed, a table, and a large bookshelf that seemed to stretch the length of one wall, some chairs and a fireplace. It was so warm after having to come out of the cold that I couldn't help myself. I stepped inside and made a beeline for the fireplace. I was careful not to track snow in, leaving my boots and pack in front of the front porch, in hopes that whoever lived there would recognize that I was here and not be startled. I didn't know where the owner of the cabin was, but if they were out hunting in this weather, I wasn't likely to receive a warm welcome. Either way, I didn't think I had any options with the snow falling and the night fast approaching. I sat by the fire, and as the flames dried my clothes, I couldn't help but look at the huge bookshelf that stretched across the wall. It was floor to ceiling, and as big as it was, there was still space for more books. The books were numerous, about 30 in all, and their spines had the names of people instead of titles. My curiosity got the better of me, and I went and took the first one down. The name Jeremy Blake was printed in gold leaf on the spine, and when I opened it, it cracked in that satisfying way old books do. The owner of the home probably wouldn't appreciate me perusing their bookshelf, but I figured I already had enough to apologize for. What was one more thing? Don't forget to sniff it, yeah. Sniff the book. The inside was written in what appeared to be real ink, and the handwriting was delicate and practiced. Whoever Jeremy Blake had been, he had been a very dab hand, and when it came to writing, I had to assume that it was biographical, but the book didn't look old enough to have been written in 1736, as it claimed. Jeremy talked about being out hunting deer with his brothers when they suddenly set up by a snowstorm. It had been snowing where they set out, but what they found now themselves was in a blizzard. His brothers had left him where he couldn't keep up, but Jeremy thought he was about to die. That's when he saw the light out in the woods. He talked about coming up in the cabin and how it had seemed empty, but lived in. Like me, he had decided to thank the owner. Then he returned to set out pinning in his journal, which he had brought with him. That's very sweet, thank you, Doc. I pray the snow passes quickly. I would love nothing more than to return to my father's home so that I might chastise my brothers for leaving me in such a sorry state. The next entry was a little bit different. Jeremy had woken up to find that no one had returned to the cabin and that the snow was still falling outside. He had thought it looked a bit better, and now that it was warm, he had thought he might try to make it home again. Jeremy had opened the door to leave, but upon stepping out, he had walked right back into the cabin instead. He had tried this several more times, but always found himself stepping back into the warm, inviting cabin. There was only one door, and when he tried to break a window in his fervor, he found that they would not break. He became a little upset, fearing that he had stumbled into some kind of deviltry. He tried to leap through the window and nearly knocked himself unconscious. He had destroyed the house, flipping over tables and throwing chairs, but none of them had broken. When he turned around, it had all resumed its previous position, and Jeremy was certain he had found himself in a witch's den and was most afraid. The next few days were full of entries about Jeremy continuing to live inside the cabin and discovering that it was what it was all about. He found that he did not need to eat or drink, which was both a blessing and a curse. Despite not needing these things, he found that he was always hungry and constantly licking his lips when his mouth felt dry. He watched from the window as the snow began to melt, and as winter became spring, he watched animals roam outside the cabin. After a while, his entries became a journal of what he had seen from the cabin's windows, until I discovered the last entry in his long series of observations. I know not if anyone will ever read this. I suppose it matters not. I have existed in this house for a long, long time. I cannot say how long exactly, but I was not even 15 when I came out in the cold, and now when I look at the glass over the fire, I see an old man staring back at me. I don't know how much longer I will survive, but today I saw another person for the first time in a long time. I was looking out the window, watching the snow fall again, when a child came hesitantly from a tree line. He was looking at the same candle that had brought me here, but his eyes got big when he saw me. He took a step towards the house, meaning to come inside or ask for who I was, but I shooed him away. I think now that I should have let him open the door to see if I could escape, but I couldn't take the chance of the boy being stuck as well. Better to die alone here than have someone young fellow watch me pass. He scampered away when I banged on the glass and yelled at him, probably for the best. I'm going to stop now. This journal does nothing but remind me that I am alive. Maybe it would be better to be dead. I wasn't sure what to make out of the journal. Was it real or some make-believe story the owner had concocted? I looked at the bookcase and wondered if they were all like that. It was dark outside now, so I took the second journal over to the fireplace so I could read in the roaring light of the fire. A pine knot cracked as I got comfortable, and the whole experience was very rustic. The handwriting was a little rougher, not the same as the beautiful script on the previous one. Inside were the musings of a woodcutter. His writing was shorter and more surface level. He had gotten lost while chopping wood and found the cabin on his way home. He stopped in to see who lived there and got himself trapped inside, just like the rider before him. He had used his axe to try and break free, but to no avail. He had taken up the book he found on the shelf and began writing to pass the time. It wasn't much, 3 or 4 pages before he stopped. He wrote about watching some squirrels, seeing a deer, and worrying that he would starve when he didn't find food in the cabin. Whether he died or became bored, I don't know. He stopped writing after the 5th page, signing Roland Wood at the bottom. The same name on the book spine, written in the same rough gold leaf that the words were written in. Hi Carrick, welcome, welcome. The next diary turned out to be kind of a fantasy story, something my grandpa would have called an old opera. It talked about pioneers on the trail, one of them breaking off in the night to have a call to nature. He finds a strange cabin with a flickering candle, and once he went in, it refused to turn him loose. He spent a few pages talking about being trapped in the cabin. And when his sister came to look for him, he saw her and banged on the window to get her attention. She looked up, clearly startled, and ran away before she could help him. Whether she had seen him or not, no one else ever came to look for him. The rest of the journal was spent telling the story of the pioneers and what they must have seen on the trail. His sister seemed to be the main character, and he talked about the Indians they fought, the animals they hunted. Oh no. I thought I turned this off. Wait a second. Oh no. Did I not turn off the money ticket? Wait. Oh, I didn't play anyways, I think. At least I didn't hear it. At least I didn't hear it. Okay, I think all the sounds are turned off now. Yes. Hi Rieselhilfe, welcome, welcome. I need a sip of my coffee. How are you doing, Riesel? The rest of the story, the rest of the journal was spent telling the story of the pioneers and what they must have seen on the trail. His sister seemed to be the main character, and he talked about the Indians they fought, the animals they hunted, and the things they survived on the way to their new home. Eventually she married a man, and the two lived on the prairie with their growing family on the outskirts of Preacher's Glen. Towards the end, he must have become a little jaded with the whole thing as the story took a dark turn. His sister, her husband, and her children became riddled with hardships as the Indians descended upon their house, burning their crops and killing them all. His sister watched their family suffer for a crime of leaving her brother behind. The journal ended with her finally being allowed to die at the hands of her captors. How are you? Fine, thank you. Hi, Sig. Hi, welcome. How are you doing? He signed it William T. Pitt on the last page, and when I looked up from the story, I realized that it was day again. As snow rattled loudly against the window, I had no wonder if it had only been a day. Jeremy's journal had made it clear that the concept of time was a little wobbly. Had I been here a day, a week, a year? I had no way to know. The snow was still blowing outside, but it didn't have to be the same storm that had brought me here. I looked at the door as I got up and put the book away and wondered if I would find myself stepping right back into the cabin. I took a step forward towards the door, but I just wasn't bold enough to try it yet. How is the weeb? The weeb is doing good. I needed more research first. With a little else to do, I picked up the 4th journal. I noticed that William Pitt was on the spine of the third one as I put it back, and Beverly Stryker was on the spike of the one I took down. It seemed that the cabinet finally attracted a female resident, and I was interested in getting her point of view on this whole situation. Beverly's story was a little different from the others. Mrs. Stryker was in trouble when she found the cabin. Beverly had been fleeing into the night to escape her abusive husband. She hadn't wanted to marry him. He was not the sort of man that women like her to often marry, but she had made the mistake of falling for him when she was younger. Sorry. Not realizing what a brute he was until it was a bit too late. By then, her father had decided that if his youngest daughter wanted to marry someone so far below her station, then he would let her. He had enough useless mouths to feed useless mouths in need of dowries, and her husband had asked relatively little from him by way of a dowry. The two had been wed less than a year when Beverly had run away the first time. He had found her easily enough. Her husband was a hunter, and her trail had been easy to follow. He'd had his farm hands tied her up in the barn and whipped her with a horsewhip he used in the colts they had been breaking in. Her skin had been covered with welts, broken and red from the lashing, and Beverly had been left in the barn overnight to think about what she had done. She thought, all right, but it wasn't likely the reflection her husband had been thinking. Beverly lay in the filthy hay all night, thinking about her current situation and planning her next escape attempt. She played the dutiful wife for the next 3 months, filling his cup. Thank you for that, pets. Water, thank you for the water. Water the plant. Sounds like how I treat my mods. I would never do that. Tea. I feel like I'm way too clumsy for ASMR. 1 second. Okay. Cooking his dinner and keeping his house like he liked it until her husband grew lazy again. He stopped having the hands watch her so closely. He stopped locking the bolt every night so she couldn't escape. He stopped putting the dogs out every night so they would alert him when she left. Hitting your poor table? No, I didn't mean to. Then, one night she ran, but not fast enough. He was after her sooner than expected, and she had heard the baying of the dogs and the clump, clump, clump of the horse hoofs. She was running through the woods, the early autumn chills sending goosebumps up her skin. She hadn't gotten dressed in anything heavier than a shirt. If she caught her getting dressed, he had known she meant to run, and so now she ran in the light of the late year moon, her body bathed in the golden light as she fled for her life. When she had fallen, she had expected to be ridden down out of hand, but the hooves and the dogs went past her as she lay curled in a bough beneath a tree. The roots made kind of a cage. Beverly looking through her bars as she listened to the insects and nightbirds sing their song. She expected to be found, expected to be caught, but as the night deepened, she found it was only her out here in the wilderness. The dancing light had stolen her from her worries, and that was when she noticed the candle. Beverly had found the cabin and been trapped by the enticing cage. There wasn't much after that. She had written a little more, but nothing as exciting as the night-long run through the forest. She read the journal and discovered she couldn't leave, but there was none of her fear or uncertainty the others had. Wait, I lost my line. The others had shown. She was content in this place, a place her husband couldn't find. She lived inside the cabin, updating the journal sparingly, and passing away with nothing to show for it, and no one the wiser. I looked at the door again, but the next book looked so inviting. Books became my food. I devoured them, rereading some of them and taking their stories in. The cabin had attracted many in its lifetime, and I wondered how many more had chosen not to write. How many had suffered in silence here? How many had simply wasted away with nothing to mark their passing except their memories? Those who had written had left behind everything from pages and pages of observations to short-lived stories about nothing at all. They wrote fantasies, westerns, slice-of-life stories about the people they left behind, and it all became more and more modern as time went on. I don't know how long I sat there reading, but it was snowing again when I looked up to find a journal with my own name on it. I opened it and I found the pages as white and blank as the landscape outside my window. The doorknob was cold when I wrapped my hand around it. The wind was cold as it blew snow in through the open door. My boots were still on the porch, but they looked old and weather-beaten. The backpack was gone, likely dragged off by some wild animals while I was reading. The boots have been tan while I bought them less than a year before I entered the cabin. Now they looked bleached, the fabric thin as a mummy's cheeks. I wanted to reach out and touch them, see if my finger would go through the thin skin of the boot, but I knew I would never get close to them. I stepped out onto the porch and found my foot coming down on the hardwood floor of the cabin. I closed the cabin door and went back to the fire, picking up the journal with my name on it. If you're reading this, then it's already too late. I don't know if this place is supernatural or just some odd pocket out of time, but I do know that it's a trap. I don't know if there's any escape from this place, and I know that no one is coming to look for me. I hope my diary is the last, but I have no doubt there will be others. The house seems to draw us to it, collecting story as it collects lives. At least it will be warm before I die. Hi Melon, how are you? Welcome in. Pokemon MMO 3D. How did that go? I looked down at what I had written, unsure of what else to say. It was barely a page, and the effort seemed lame. I was no writer. I'd never done more than emails or text messages, but as I struggled to find something to add to it, the futility of the exercise hit me all at once. If someone read it, they would be trapped anyway. My warning wouldn't help them, and my eyes slipped over to the fire as I thought just about burning it. Would it burn? I didn't know, but if the cabin wanted lives, then why give it what it wanted? And I turned back to the door and thought of something a little different. An experiment that might bear results. The book thumped onto the porch when I tossed it, and when I turned back to the bookshelf, it hadn't returned to its spot. The snow skittered across the pages, leaving red runners on the paper as they marked them. They fluttered back and forth as the wind hit them, but the book was a little too heavy to be pushed by the wind. The snow seemed loath to come up to the porch, so I didn't think it would ruin it. When I closed the door, I hoped someone would see before they opened it. I had added a little bit at the end, and as I sat shivering by the fire, I hoped they would notice the book and follow the instructions before barging in. Knock 3 times and open the door. Under no circumstances come in. If the house is empty, run away as fast as you can. If I'm here, hopefully you can help me escape. Oh, that's a very cool story. That was a very nice one, I think. 1 second. Yeah, it was a cabin in the woods. And the cabin was trapping people so they would be there forever and ever. Hi, Urban Warfare. Good morning, Melon. How are you guys? How are you guys doing? Never get married. How? How does this have to do with anything? How does this have to do with anything? Let's see. We are reading spooky stories, Kazumi. We're doing some ASMR. Hi. Okay, I would like 100% of divorces starts with marriage. I guess. Is this why it sounds like the void? Yes. This is why it sounds. Wait a second. I'm trying to find something. Okay. Hi, Blue and Kazumi. How are you doing? How are you doing? I'm trying to find. There are like some books that you are allowed to read because they belong to like a sort of kind of a public library. Finally finished all my exams for this semester. Next one starts today. Oh, good luck, Blue. I'm pretty sure you can do it. I am pretty sure you can do it. Public books online. Let's see. Because I know some books, they don't have, they like they are. I don't know how to explain this. Well, you can read them on streams and such. Oh yes, of course you can recommend something. I am open for recommendations. You can't read? I'm so sorry to hear this. I am so sorry to hear this. Let's see. That's a text story. That's a YouTube video though. Wait. Archive of C.A. Smith? It was a lot like. Okay. Online archive of C.A. Smith. I love Lovecraftian stuff. Let's see. Online archive. Eldritch Dark, writing short stories, thank you. Wait. eldritchdark.com. eldritchdark.com. Da da da. I was silently vibing the word you're looking for public domain. Thank you so much, Zen. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. I was looking for public library and stuff, but that didn't really work out. Public domain book. Yes, exactly. Fell into public domain are free to be read and used. Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Project Gutenberg, yes, exactly, that's what I found too. I can't find it's Dark Eidolon. Okay, wait a second. There it is. Oh, this might be a bit too long. This might be a bit too long. How about some poetry? I want to also read some poetries. Let's see. The poems, there's like 3-liners. Poetry would be really nice, yes. After Armageddon. Sorry, I accidentally muted. After Armageddon by Clark Ashton Smith. See, I'm telling you, I'm just way too clumsy for ASMR. God walks lightly in the garden of a cold, dark star, knowing not the dust that gathers in his garment's fold. God signs him with the clay, marks him with the mold, walking in the fields unsunned of a sad lost war, and a star long cold. God treads brightly where the bones of unknown things lie, pale with his splendor as the frost in a moon-bleached place. God sees the tombs by the light of his face. He shudders at the runes writ thereon, and his shadow on the sky shudders hugely in space. God talks briefly with his armies of the tomb-born worm. God holds parley with the grey worm and pale avid moth. Their mouth have eaten all, but the worm is wroth with a dark hunger still, and he murmurs harm with a murmuring moth. God turns him heavenward in haste from the dark star, that dark star. But his robes are assoiled by the dust of unknown things dead. The grey worm follows creeping, and the pale moth has fed. Couched in a secret golden fold of his broad trained simar, like a doom unsaid. Sometimes I don't know certain words. This is a story about me. No, it's not a story about you. It is not. Ooh, this one is called Alien Age. Interesting name. I like that name. We're gonna read that. We're going to read this. Who is this fake god then? Let me have a sip of water. Hello, space. It's so nice to see you here. Have you thought about playing visual novels on stream? I like hearing you read stuff for cute chat. The only visual novel I played was Doki Doki Literature Club. But if I can find some other cool ones, I'm open for that because I like to read. How are you doing, space? So good to see you. I saw your TikTok. It is so nice. It's so calm. You could also make ASMR. Alien Age by Clark Ashton Smith. Dear one, what do we hear? Petal by petal falls the alien spring in gardens where we pass ungarlanded, and seek once more the doves and myrtles dead, and some retrieveless here, and claim no leaf or blossom for our own. O Paphos, and the moons of Paphos flown, my golden love, my golden dove, canst thou recall? You have no microphone. You don't really need a ASMR microphone. You can also just do soft whispering. I always recommend Sucker for Love, First Kiss. The entire plot is would you destroy the world for a kiss, and the answer is yes. I'm going to save this. I'm going to quickly post this in my Discord. You got me at Lovecraftian romantic comedy. You got me there. 1 second. You got pulled into a business call. Just tell them no, Kath. Just tell them no. Just say no. How was the story? It was cool. That was very interesting. Thank you for the follow, Zen X Paladin. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the spaceship. I hope you enjoy your stay here. But yeah, I think space, if you're still here, I don't know, but like for microphones, I don't think you need an ASMR microphone to do. I am doing this with a Blue Yeti. It's quite good, but it's not necessarily an ASMR microphone. I think the outcome is very good. And I think as long as you're just soft whispering, and maybe then you can set up a goal for an ASMR mic if you want that, of course. But I don't think you really need an ASMR microphone to do ASMR. If you would do it just like in the TikTok you made, that would be perfect. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Yeah. Okay, I see Cat. Yeah, Nala. Nala is chilling. She's very calm today. I don't really know why. I'm glad that she is. She's not out for blood, chaos, and mayhem like yesterday, so that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna start reading this from the beginning. The Yeti is a non-lickable dough. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean? What do you mean by this? Wake up. No, not no, wake up. Oh no, you woke her up. look so grumpy. Try licking it and you will see. I don't think I want to lick my microphone. Okay. I want to read a poem. Wait, my eyes. 1 second, but first. 1 second. Before I start reading the poem, I will go and take a quick break. It's time to cause chaos. Please don't. Please do not cause chaos. That's not good. I'll be right back, everyone. I'm back. Nala went to go and get milk. Now she's on my lap. She's on my lap. Okaeri. Arigato. I have to adjust a few things here and there. Okay. I was actually thinking of reading a whole book with you guys. Like, not like 500 pages, obviously, but some of the classics are somewhat a bit shorter sometimes. That would be a nice thing to do, and I wouldn't, of course, read it in a whole go. But, oh, wait a second, I gotta sneeze. Okay, I don't have to sneeze. Only 499. Yeah, but we could do some sessions. Yeah, you can recommend one, of course. I read a lot. My eyes is itchy and my nose is it's going down. It's wait a second. Jeez, my eye. Okay, I have to clean my nose. 1 second, please. I'm okay. I just had to clean my nose because there was like a constantly the threat of a sneeze in there, and also my eye is itching a lot. We got some tapping. Gotta tap on my coffee cup. Nala is actually chilling on my lap. Can you believe this? I can't. No, don't wake her up. No. No. I always wanted to read The Secret Garden, actually, but I never did. Guess what do you need that throne link for? You don't need that. You don't need that. September has ended. It has. Yeah, The Secret Garden. I will put that. The Secret Garden in my notes. Thank you. It's on Gutenberg. Thank you very much for the suggestion. I don't want to do a screenshot. I want to put this in my notes. Okay. I have the Blue Yeti. It's okay. You can't do recommendations on my throne. There was some person that kept recommending me cheese. But that's too expensive, and I just got the Blue Yeti. But that's too expensive. The ears would be cool. But if you recommend it, you have to buy it. I see. Yeah, see? Don't do that, gals. That's too expensive. That's too expensive. Nala, stay on my lap. Okay. So, here's I see how it works here. No balls, Cass. No, you can't recommend things on my throne. I turned that off because there was one person who just kept recommending me a whole wheel of cheese. Parmigiano Reggiano. I had like 10 wheels of cheese in my recommendations. I know. I have my suspicions on who did that, but I'm not sure. So that's why they're turned off. I don't want more cheese. Cheese is great though. It is, but still. Okay. No, I think it was Mr. Bantham. Mr. Bantham, because he was bringing up the topic of cheese quite often, and every time I would ask him about it, he would just be like, tee-hee, I didn't do anything, ha ha ha. So I'm pretty sure it was him. Okay. Let's read a poem. You guys can keep chatting, of course, but I want to read the poem first. Dear one, what do we hear? Petal by petal falls the alien spring in gardens where we pass ungarlanded, and seek once more the doves and myrtles dead, and some retrieveless year, and claim no leaf or blossom for our own. O Paphos, and the moons of Paphos flown, my golden dove, canst thou recall nights when the light was all, and high desire could still outlive the dawn? Hast thou forgot here in the grey sad world that knows us not, the years when we were nymph and centaur drawn to elder forests deep? That spring had turned to chrysolite and gold, hast thou forgot the tale of kiss told? By summer waters calm so sleep, when Hesperian sunset touched thy hair from islands lost and fair. Dear one, what do we hear beyond the window pane? The shifting vials of rain bedim the bitter world that is not ours, and on dishevelled flowers there falls a hueless twilight brief and drear. Give me thy lips again, let us forget the weariness and pain, and the supreme disaster of our birth, while in thy flesh malingering slow kisses move and cling, and love alone hath verity or worth. Ah, let me find about my bosom's fruit the fragile vague perfume of unseen lilies crushed within the gloom, of forests lone and old. Oh, let me seek in leisure long pursued amid thy harvest-coloured hair for suns and summers of remembered gold, and seal my lips on throat and bosom fair, till where my kisses fell the phantom rose of Paphos blows. Oh, that's a pretty one. I wasn't sure where this is going. But that's a pretty one, I like it. Very nice. Oh, nice, nice, nice. There's so many. Let's go back to his stories. I don't want to stream for too long today. Maximum 3 hours, since we went out for 6 hours yesterday. Okay, let's see. Short stories. How short are we talking? Sir, your short stories are not short. These are not short. Okay, we can read this one. Let's take a sip of coffee. I think Ivy did it herself. No, I did not add the cheese by myself. 64-hour stream, no. Okay, the story is called Checkmate by Clark Ashton Smith. I'm afraid he has found your letters to me, Leonard. He? Who is he? My husband, of course, stupid. The devil, that's awkward if true. What makes you think your husband has found them? The letters are missing, and who else could have taken them? You remember where I kept them? Under the pile of lingerie in my middle bureau drawer? Well, the whole packet is gone. Also, Jim has changed toward me the last few days. He's so grouchy all the time. And he has a kind of sly look too, as if he knew something and were watching me. What do you think he'll do about it? I don't know, I'm sure, but it makes me very uncomfortable. The present question is, what are we going to do? Have you any suggest? Ethel Drew and her lover, Leonard Alton, stared at each other in mutual alarm. Also, their consternation was touched with more than a hint of critical appraisal. In the light of the danger that menaced their affair, Ethel wondered if Leonard were quite the ideal gallant she had imagined him to be. And Leonard wondered for the first time if Ethel's blonde deliciousness were not becoming slightly over-mature. However, they had had a lot of pleasant times together, and neither of them relished the idea of an interruption to those good times. Then there were other considerations. Ethel was indifferent to her husband, but there were reasons why she did not care to lose him. She was a convenient wage earner and provider of luxuries, even if not in romantic thrills, and Leonard, on his part, was hardly intrigued by the vision of a divorce suit in which he would find himself playing the expensive role of correspondent. Also, he might have to marry Ethel and support her. Supposing he decides to divorce me? Ethel, with feminine frankness, was the first to voice the thought. We can't have anything of that sort. Jim might do it. Certainly he could, with your letters of evidence. Leonard recalled certain passages of perverted phraseology which he has used in writing to Ethel. Also the many direct references to episodes of their passion. What an indiscreet idiot he had been. I'll say he could, he rejoined ruefully. Well, haven't you anything to suggest? The tone was perceptibly tart. If he has the letters, he must have put them away somewhere. Have you looked for them? Of course I have. I went through Jim's bedroom and clothes closet as soon as I found they were missing. Then I searched his den, but the letters aren't in the house. It was useless to look, he wouldn't leave them around like that. Have you searched his office? Bet you he's got them pigeonholed in his desk. I haven't looked there yet. No chance to do so far, but I thought of it. I tried to get hold of the office key as soon as I can. Jim may go out of town for a day or two before long, on some business deal. You've got to find the letters, Ethel. That's evident. You wouldn't be much good at finding them, of course. It's up to me. But I'll come with you if you like. Oh, all right. I'll ring you up when I get the key. Bet you anything he's got the letters filed away in his desk. Maybe, if he hasn't filed them with a lawyer. Ethel Drew and her husband were at breakfast the next morning. Jim had been gulping his coffee and oatmeal in sulky silence, and Ethel was pretending a blithe unconsciousness of his manner and his implications. Jim did not speak till he arose from the table. Then, I'm going to go out of town today. Have to see the Chalmers, also Reed Bros. I won't be able to till late tomorrow night, and I advise you to behave while I'm gone. It was the first direct verbal insinuation that Jim had made. What do you mean? Ethel's tone was crisp and cool. Just what I say. You'd better be good if you want me to go on paying for your lingerie and breakfast bacon. I don't understand you, and your remarks are rather insulting. The hell they are. I think you might explain your insults. Is it necessary? You certainly have your nerve, Ethel. I know all about you and your little playmate. Are you crazy, Jim? I don't know what you're driving at. Jim glowered at Ethel as he drew on his overcoat. Oh, yes, you do. Take it from me. You can't get away with this Leonard Alton business. No lounge lizard is going to make a monkey out of me. He'll have the job of supporting you if there's more of that stuff. And you'll like that, won't you? You certainly make a grand provider with his peanut income. Jim, you are ridiculous. A great little bluffer, aren't you? Well, I know all about it. Red-hot letters to a red-hot mama. He fairly sneered the last words. Bye-bye. And don't forget what I told you. He was gone before Ethel could think of another rejoinder. Well, that's that, she thought, biting her lip. I've simply got to get Leonard's letter back and destroy them. They're the only evidence. Jim can be nasty, of course, but he couldn't really prove anything without them. 5 minutes later, she was ransacking Jim's room, hoping desperately that he had not taken his keyring with him. Where would it be? It was not on the bureau, where he often left it, but sometimes he left it in his pocket. She remembered that he had been wearing a suit of brown and black checks this morning, instead of a blue serge suit he usually wore to the office. She opened the clothes closet. The blue serge was hanging next to the door. And then, thank heaven, the keyring was in one of the coat pockets. She knew the office key by sight. There it was, between the door key of their bungalow and the key of an old trunk. She called Leonard on the phone. Jim is out of town until late tomorrow, and I have the key. Will you help me to do a little burglarizing? Any time, darling. Not till tonight, of course. The stenographer might be here during the day. You can take me to dinner if you want to, and we'll visit the office afterwards. That's a good plan. Nothing like combining pleasure with business. Shall I call for you at the house about 6:30? That will be fine, Leonard, but you needn't be so flippant. Supposing we don't recover the letters? Ethel and Leonard were very gay that evening. That word is meant to be something that's not the word gay. Gay means happy back then. I don't know, this is so funny. Yeah. They were very gay that evening. Back then they used gay for... This is not Ethel is a woman. Ethel and Leonard. Ethel is a woman. Oops. We'll have a gay old time. Yeah. And as I said, back then, gay meant something else as happy. And neither spoke of the missing letters, as they sat in an alcove of a fashionable restaurant. There was a tenseness beneath their gaiety, however, and they were repeating to themselves over and over the same unanswered query with which their phone conversation had ended. The tenseness grew. With a tacit agreement, they did not linger over their dessert. Ethel wished she knew how to quit Leonard. A short drive in Leonard's car, and then they entered a downtown building. They boldly took the elevator on the 3rd story. Before them, in a long deserted hall, was the lettered glass of an office door with the words James Drew Fire Insurance. Ethel took the keyring from a vanity bag and unlocked the door. She turned on the light and began to examine her husband's desk. It was strewn with unsorted papers, and none of the drawers had been locked. She pulled them out one by one and went through them systematically. Nothing of interest in the first 2, only business documents. But what were the letters in the 3rd drawer, lying beneath some legal papers? Yeah, they use a lot of words like this, that's true. I like to read the classics and such. I haven't read one in a while, but they use them a lot. The letters were not those of which she was looking, but nevertheless, what were they doing in her husband's desk? They were addressed to Jim, and the writing and stationery were feminine. Indeed, very fairly reeked of femininity. The Maeve paper had been perfumed with sandalwood. Ethel did not recognize the writing, but her natural curiosity was not lessened by this fact. Oh no. She opened one of them and began to read it. The letter began, "Darling Piggy," and was full of endearments and amorous allusion, couched in the diction of the demi-monde. It was signed, "Your red-hot Tootsie Wootsy Flora." Why would you sign your letter with that? "Your red-hot Tootsie Wootsy Flora." No, not Miss Piggy. Darling Piggy. Ethel's cheeks and eyes were burning as she turned to Leonard. She was shocked and amazed, and also indignant. She would not have believed Jim capable of this sort of thing. Who was this low woman with whom he had gotten himself involved? "Have you found something?" asked Leonard. "I found plenty." She gave him the letters with no further comment and proceeded to open and read the next. "Why, the old devil!" exclaimed Leonard, when he had caught the purport of the epistle. "This is rich," he added with a chuckle. "Do you think it's so funny?" Ethel asked stiffly. "Well, I'll be..." Leonard wisely checked himself, reflecting that no man could foresee a woman's emotional reactions. Ethel gave him a second letter and opened the third. There were nearly 24 in a pile. She and Leonard read them all. Most of them were damnatory proof of vulgar liaisons. Many referred to as secret meetings, even to nights that had been spent together in hotels by Jim and the writer under assumed names. One of them enclosed a snapshot showing Jim with his armor on and a plump and luscious brunette in a one-piece bathing suit of extreme brevity. The snapshot commemorated one of their outings. The woman's full name, Flora Jennings, was signed to one of their letters. Comparatively formal note with evidently dated from the beginning of their acquaintance. You sign all your work emails with that. Work emails, that's nice. "I'll divorce him," cried Ethel when she had finished this letter. "But how about my letters? We haven't found them yet." Ethel did not reply. She was rereading one of the mauve-tinted epistles. Then, as she stuffed the whole packet into her vanity bag, she said, "I am going to take those letters with me, even if I haven't found yours." "A fair exchange is no robbery," chuckled Leonard. Jim had returned from his business trip. He and Ethel were at the breakfast table again. "Did you do what I told you?" he asked gruffly, after a period of sullen preoccupation with his food. "What was that, Jim?" Ethel's tone was very sweet and guileless. "What I told you about that lounge lizard." "And who is the lounge lizard, pray? Don't try any more bluffs with me. I told you to watch your step with Leonard Alton." "Oh, I remember now. You said some silly things about Leonard, which reminds me that the dear boy took me out to dinner night before last." "What?" Jim was almost apoplectic with rage. "Say, do you think you can go on getting away with murder? I found a bunch of billet-doux from this Leonard person. I don't know some of the words." "They certainly told me all I needed to know. They ought to have been written in asbestos instead of paper. Do you think I'm going to stand for any more of this? I've got those letters in safety deposit box at the bank, but I'll deposit them with a lawyer if there's any more funny business." "Why, what a coincidence," laughed Ethel. "I put some letters in a box at the bank myself only yesterday." "You did? What letters?" "Oh, some letters on Maeve paper scented with sandalwood. They were written to you, Jim, by someone named Flora Jennings, so I think you'd better not say anything more about Leonard." that's the end of the story. Kinda a bit yeah, interesting, but I don't know. Bandoblo, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. Welcome to the spaceship. I hope you enjoy your stay here. You arrived at the end of the story, but not the end of the stream. They lived happily ever after. I don't know about happy. I don't know about happy. Okay, 1 second. Nala, shut your little mouth. Shut your little mouth, Nala. One second, I will be right back. You think it's cozy? I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. We can hide the camera for now. Wait a sec, that was not the camera. Where's the camera? Where's Nala? Here, okay. We can hide it for now. She has left the room. Okay. Let's see if I can find... It was leg day today, so I'm dead. And thanks so much for the stream. Oh, leg day is important. Leg day is very important. You're welcome. We will still be reading something. I want to... Wait a second. Do they not have... horror? Here, there you go. Water. Let's see. You're playing a game? What are you playing? Okay, I have found a book on the public domain with ghost stories. These are rather short, so that's good. I'm not really short, but we can focus on this one story, and then we could wrap it up slowly. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Duel Academy. I see. We were talking, Kaz was talking a bit about Yu-Gi-Oh! And the game and such a bit yesterday. Okay, I wanna just here see if I can download this as a PDF. You wanted some nostalgia, that's very understandable. Okay, so the first, or let's say the last story of today. Someone's redeemed a tournament thing, yeah. Let's see. Okay. The last story of today is The Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe. So So I just want you to lean back and enjoy a bit. Maybe put on some headphones if you don't have that already. And just enjoy the story. For the most wild yet most homely narrative which I am about to pen, I neither expect nor solicit belief. Mad indeed would I be to expect it, in a case where my very senses reject their own evidence. Yet mad I am not, and very surely do I not dream. But tomorrow I die, and today I would unburden my soul. My immediate purpose is to place before the world, plainly, succinctly, and without comment, a series of mere household events. And their consequences, these... You're not... I'm trying to have it peaceful, but this cat in the background, she's crazy. Thank you, Meg, for resubscribing. Thank you so much. You're not disturbing. Thank you so much. The only one that's disturbing here is the cat. So, where were we? In their consequences. These events have terrified, have tortured, have destroyed me. Yet I will not attempt to expound them. To me they have presented little but horror. To many they will seem less terrible than Barocas. Hereafter, perhaps some intellect may be found which will reduce my phantasm to the commonplace, some intellect more calm, more logical, and far less excitable than my own, which will perceive in the circumstances I detail in awe nothing more than an ordinary succession of very natural cause and effect. From my infancy I was noted of the docility and humanity of my disposition. My tenderness of heart was even so conspicuous as to make me the jest of my companions. I was especially fond of animals, and was indulged by my parents with a great variety of pets. With these I spent most of my time, and never was so happy as when feeding and caressing them. This peculiarity in character grew with my growth, and in my manhood I derived from it one of my principal sources of pleasure. To those who have cherished an affection for a faithful and sagacious dog, I need hardly to be at the trouble of explaining the nature of the intensity of the gratification thus derivable. There is something in the unselfish and self-sacrificing love of a brute which goes directly to the heart of him who has had frequent occasions to test the paltry friendship and gossamer fidelity of mere man. I married early, and I was happy to find in my wife a disposition of unconsensual in my own. Observing my partiality for domestic pets, she lost no opportunity of procuring those of the most agreeable kind. We have birds, goldfish, a fine dog, rabbits, a small monkey, and a cat. Where did you get a monkey from? This latter was a remarkably large and beautiful animal, entirely black and sagacious to an astonishing degree. In speaking of his intelligence, my wife, who at heart was not a little tinctured with superstition, made frequent allusions to the ancient popular notion, which regarded all black cats as witches in disguise. Not that she was ever serious upon this point, and I mentioned the matter at all for no better reason than that it happens just now to be remembered. Pluto, this was the cat's name, was my favorite pet and playmate. I alone fed him, and he attended to me whenever I went about the house. It was even with difficulty that I could prevent him from following me through the streets. Our friendship lasted in this manner for several years, during which my general temperament and character, through the instrumentality of fiend intemperance, had, I blush to confess it, experienced a radical alternation of the worse. I grew day by day more moody, more irritable, more regardless of the feelings of others. I suffered myself to the use of intemperate language to my wife. At length I even offered her personal violence. My pets, of course, were made to feel the change in my disposition. You love Nala so much. I'm glad to hear that. I not only neglected them, but I ill-used them. For Pluto, however, I still retained sufficient regard to restrain me from maltreating him, as I made no scruple of maltreating the rabbits, the monkey, or even the dog, when by accident or through affection they came in my way. But my disease grew upon me, of what a disease is like alcohol, and at length even Pluto, who was now becoming old, and consequently somewhat peevish, even Pluto began to experience the effects of my ill temper. One night, returning home with much intoxicated from one of my haunts above town, I fancied that the cat avoided my presence. I seized him when, in his fright at my violence, he inflicted a slight wound upon my hand with the teeth. The fury of a demon instantly possessed me. I knew myself no longer. My original soul seemed at once to take its flight from my body, and more than fiendish malevolence nurtured, thrilled every fiber of my frame. I took from my waistcoat pocket a penknife, opened it, grasped the poor beast by the throat, and deliberately cut one of its eyes from its socket. I blush, I burn, I shudder while I pen the damnable atrocity. When reason returned with the morning, when I had slept off the fumes of the night's debauch, I experienced a sentiment of half of horror, half of remorse for the crime of which I had been guilty. It was at best a feeble and equivocal feeling, and the soul remained untouched. I again plunged into excess, and soon drowned in wine all memory of the deed. In the meantime, the cat slowly recovered. Let's take a sip of water. The socket of the lost eye presented, it is true, a frightful appearance, but he no longer appeared to suffer any pain. He went about the house as usual, but as might be expected, fled in extreme terror at my approach. I had so much of my old heart left as to be at first grieved by this evident dislike on the part of a creature which had once so loved me. But this feeling soon gave place to irritation, and then came, as if to my final and irrevocable overthrow, the spirit of perverseness. Of this spirit philosophy takes no account, yet I am not more sure that my soul lives than I am preserved as one of the primitive impulses of the human heart, one of the indivisible primary faculties or sentiments which give direction of the character of man. 1 second, please. This cat is crazy. Hi, Mr. Bantham. Don't hurt Nala. I would never hurt her. What the hell? I would never hurt. I just had to cuddle her a bit. Why meowing? It gave you weird dreams? What kind of weird dreams? 1 second, I have to adjust. is my sitting position here. What kind of weird dreams did you have? It isn't Nala who meowing, it is Nala. It is Nala. Here. Nala. Nala. 1 second, I will sip my coffee a bit and then we will return to reading. Come here, Nala. Nala. Come here. I felt uneasy, and then at the end I was thinking about the end of your name, so it ended well. That's good. Nala, where are you? Come here. Sephiroth, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. Welcome to the spaceship. I hope you enjoy your stay here. Thank you. Okay. Nala is on my lap now. Someone was screaming outside. Weird people. Okay. So we're currently reading The Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe. One morning, in cold blood, I slipped a noose about its neck and hung it to the limb of a tree. Hung it with the tears streaming from my eyes and the bitterest remorse at my heart. Hung it because I knew that it had loved me, and because I felt it had given me no offense. Hung it because I knew that in so doing I was committing a sin, a deadly sin that would so jeopardize my immortal soul as to place it, if such a thing were possible, even beyond the reach of infinite mercy of the soul of the most merciful and most terrible God. On the night of the day on which this cruel deed was done, I was aroused from sleep by the cry of fire. The curtains of my bed were in flames. The whole house was blazing. It was with great difficulty that my wife... Wait a second. Sorry. It was with great difficulty that my wife, a servant, and myself made our escape from the conflagration. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The destruction was complete. My entire worldly wealth was swallowed up, and I resigned myself thenceforward to despair. I am above the weakness of seeking to establish a sequence of cause and effect between the disaster and the atrocity, but I am detailing a chain of facts, and wish to not leave even a possible link imperfect. On the day succeeding the fire, I visited the ruins. The walls, with one exception, had fallen in. This exception was found in a compartment wall, not very thick, which stood about the middle of the house, and against which had to rest the head of my bed. The plastering had here in great measure resisted the action of the fire, a fact which I attributed to its having been recently spread. About this wall a dense crowd were collected, and many persons seemed to be examining a particular portion of it with very minute and eager attention. The words strange, singular, and other similar expressions excited my curiosity. I approached and saw, as if graven in bas-relief upon the white surface, the figure of a gigantic cat. The impression was given with an accuracy truly marvelous. There was a rope about the animal's neck. When I first beheld this apparition, for I could scarcely regard it as less, my wonder and my terror were extreme. But at length reflection came to my aid. The cat, I remembered, had been hung in a garden adjacent to the house. Upon the alarm of fire, this garden had been immediately filled by the crowd, by some of them whom the animal must have been cut from the tree and thrown through an open window into a chamber. This had probably been done by the view of arousing me from sleep. The falling of the other walls had compressed the victims to my cruelty into the substance of the freshly splattered plaster, the lime of which the flames and the ammonia from the carcass had then accomplished the portraiture as I saw it. Although I thus readily accounted to my reason, if not altogether to my conscience, for the startling factors detailed, it did not the less fail to make a deep impression upon my fancy. For months I could not rid myself of the phantasm of the cat, and during this period there came back into my spirit a half-sentiment that seemed, but was not, remorse. I went so far as to regret the loss of the animal, and to look about me among the vile haunts which I now habitually frequented, for another pet, the same species and of somewhat similar appearance, with which to supply its place. One night, as I sat, half stupefied in a den of more than infamy, my attention was suddenly drawn to some black object, reposing upon the head of the immense hogshead of gin or of rum which constituted the chief furniture of the apartment. I had been looking steadily at the top of this hogshead for some minutes, and what now caused me surprise was the fact that I had not sooner perceived the object thereupon. I approached it and touched it with my hand. It was a black cat, a very large one, fully as large as Pluto, and closely resembling him in every respect, but only Pluto had not a white hair upon a portion of his body, but this cat had a large, although indefinite, splotch of white covering nearly the whole region of the breast. Upon my touching him, he immediately arose, purred loudly, rubbed against my head, and appeared delighted with my notice. This, then, was the very creature of which I was in search. I at once offered to purchase it from the landlord, but this person made no claim to it, knew nothing of it, had never seen it before. I continued my caress, and when I prepared to go home, the animal evinced a disposition to accompany me. I permitted it to do so, occasionally stooping and petting it as I proceeded. When it reached the house, it domesticated itself at once and became immediately a great favorite with my wife. For my own part, I soon found a dislike to it arising with me. This was just the reverse of what I had anticipated, but I know not how or why it was. Its evident fondness for myself rather disgusted than annoyed me. By slow degrees, these feelings of disgust and annoyance rose into bitterness of hatred. I avoided the creature, a certain sense of shame and the remembrance of my former deed of cruelty preventing me from physically abusing it. I did not for some weeks strike or otherwise violently ill-use it, but gradually, very gradually, I came to look upon it with unutterable loathing, and to flee silently from its odious presence as from the breath of a pestilence. What added, no doubt, to my hatreds of the beast was the discovery, on the morning after I brought it home, that, like Pluto, it also had been deprived of one of its eyes. This circumstance, however, only endeared it to my wife, who, as I have already said, possessed in a high degree a humanity of feeling which had once been my distinguished trait, and the source of many of my simplest, purest pleasures. With my aversion to this cat, however, its partiality for myself seemed to increase. It followed my footsteps with a pertinacity which it would be difficult to make the reader comprehend. Whenever I sat, it would crouch beneath my chair or spring upon my knee, covering me with loathsome caresses. If I arose to walk, it would get between my feet and thus nearly throw me down, or fastening its long and sharp claws in my dress, clamber in its manner to my breast, At such times, although I longed to destroy it with a blow, I was yet withheld from doing so, partly by a memory of my former crime, but chiefly, let me confess it at once, by absolutely dread of the beast. Hi, sad boy and Hercules. Hi, slaps, bye, guten Tag, hello. How are you guys doing? This dread was not exactly a dread of physical evil, and yet I should be at a loss how otherwise to define it. I'm almost ashamed to own, yes, even if it's pen and cell, I'm almost ashamed to own that the terror and horror with which the animal inspired me had been heightened by one of the merest chimeras it would be possible to conceive. My wife had called my attention more than once to the character of the mark of white hair of which I have spoken, and which constituted the sole visible difference between the strange beast and the one I had destroyed. The reader will remember that this mark, although large, had been originally very indefinite, but by slow degrees nearly imperceptible, and which for a long time my reason struggled to reject as fanciful, it had at length assumed a rigorous distinctness of outline. It was now the representation of an object that I shudder to name, and for this, above all, I loathed and dreaded, and I would have rid myself of the monster had I dared. It was now, I say, the image of a ghastly thing, of the gallows, O mournful and terrible engine of horror and of crime, of agony and of death. And now I was indeed wretched beyond the wretchedness of mere humanity, and a brute beast whose fellow I had contemptuously destroyed, a brute beast to work out for me, a man fashioned in the imagine of a high god, so much of insufferable woe. Alas, neither by day or night knew I the blessing of rest any more. During the former of the creature left me no moment alone, and in the latter I started hourly from dreams of unutterable fear, to find the hot breath of the thing upon my face and its vast weight, an incarnate nightmare that I had no power to shake off, incumbent internally upon my heart. Beneath the pressure of torments such as these, the feeble remnants of the goods within me succumbed. Evil thoughts became my sole imitates, the darkest and most evil thoughts. The moodiness of my usual temper increased to hatred of all things and of all mankind, while from the sudden, frequent, and ungovernable outbursts of a fury to which I now blindly abandoned myself, my uncomplaining wife, alas, was the most usual and the most patient of sufferers. One day she accompanied me upon my household errand to the cellar of the old building, which our poverty compelled us to inhabit. The cat followed me down the steep stairs, and nearly throwing me headlong, exasperated me into madness. Uplifting an axe, and forgetting in my wrath the childish dread that had hitherto stayed my hand, I aimed a blow at the animal, which of course would have proved instantly fatal, and it descended as I wished. But this blow was arrested by the hand of my wife. Goaded by the interference into a rage more than demoniacal, I withdrew my arm from her grasp and buried an axe into her brain. She fell dead upon the spot without a groan. Hi, hallo Wolli. Hi, wie geht's dir? Willkommen. Wir lesen unheimliche Geschichten. Party. Ich mach Party, du machst Party. This hideous murder accomplished, I set myself forthwith, and with entire deliberation, to the task of concealing the body. I knew that I could not remove it from the house, either by day or by night, without the risk of being observed by the neighbors. Many projects entered my mind. At one period I thought of cutting the corpse into minute fragments and destroying them by fire. At another, I resolved to dig a grave for it in the floor of the cellar. Again, I deliberated about casting it into the well in the yard, about packing it in a box as if merchandised with the usual arrangements, and so getting a porter to take it from the house. Finally, I hit upon what I considered a far better expedient than either of these. I determined to wall it up in a cellar, as the monks of the Middle Ages are recorded to have walled up their victims. Ich verstehe nichts, du kannst ruhig weiterlesen. Okay. Ja, aber trotzdem kann man ja Hallo sagen. Und erklären, was wir heute so machen. For a purpose such as this, the cellar was well adapted. Its walls were loosely constructed and had lately been plastered throughout with a rough plaster, which the dampness of the atmosphere had prevented from hardening. Moreover, in one of the walls was a projection caused by a false chimney or fireplace that had been filled up and made to resemble the rest of the cellar. I made no doubt that I could readily displace the bricks at this point, insert the corpse, and wall the hole up as before, so that no eye could detect anything suspicious. And in this calculation I was not deceived. By means of a crowbar I easily dislodged the bricks, and having carefully deposited the body against the inner wall, I propped it in a position while, with little trouble, I relaid the whole structure as it originally stood. Having procured the mortar, sand, and hair with every possible precaution, I prepared a plaster which could not be distinguished from the old, and with this I very carefully went over the brickwork. When I had finished, I felt satisfied that all was right. The wall did not present the slightest appearance of having been disturbed. The rubbish on this floor was picked up with a minute's care. I looked around triumphantly and said to myself, "Here, at least then my labor has not been in vain." My next step was to look for the beast which had been the cause of so much wretchedness, for I had at length firmly resolved to put it to death. Had I been able to meet it with the moment there, I could have no doubt of its fate. But it appeared that the crafty animal had been alarmed at the violence of my precious anger and forbore to present itself with my present mood. I wonder if Ivy will become this mad because of Nala. No, I will never become that mad. It is possible to describe or to imagine the deep, blissful sense of relief that the absence of the detested creature occasioned in my bosom. It did not make its appearance during the night, and thus, for one night at least since its introduction into the house, I soundly and tranquilly slept. I slept even with the burden of murder upon my soul. The second and the third day passed, and still my tormentor came not. Once again I breathed as a free man. The monster in the terror had fled the premises forever. I should behold it no more. My happiness was supreme. The guilt of my dark deed disturbed me but little. Some few inquiries had been made, but these had been readily answered, even in a search that had been instituted, but of course nothing was to be discovered. I looked upon my future felicity as secured. Upon the fourth day of the assassination, a party of the police came very unexpectedly into the house and proceeded again to make a rigorous investigation of the premise. Secure, however, in the inscrutability of my place of concealment, I felt no embarrassment whatever. The officers bade me accompany them in the research. They left no nook or corner unexplored. At length, for the third or fourth time, they descended into the cellar. I quivered not in a muscle. My heart beat as calmly as that of one who slumbers in innocence. I walked the cellar from the end to end. I folded my arms upon my bosom and roamed easily to and fro. The police were thoroughly satisfied and prepared to depart. The glee at my heart was too strong to be restrained. I burned to say but one word by way to triumph and to render doubly sure their assurance of my guiltiness. "Gentlemen," I said at last, as the party ascended the steps, "I delight to have allayed your suspicions. I wish you all health and a little more courtesy. By the by, gentlemen, this is a very well constructed house." In the rapid desire to say something more easily, I scarcely knew what I uttered at all. "I may say an excellently well constructed house. These walls... Are you going, gentlemen? These walls are solidly put together." And here, through the mere frenzy of bravado, I rapped heavily with a cane which I held in my hand upon the very portion of the brickwork behind which stood the corpse of my wife, of the wife of my bosom. But may God shield and deliver me from the fangs of the arch-fiend. No sooner had the reverberation of my blows sunk into silence than I answered by a voice from within the tomb, by a cry, at first muffled and broken, like a sobbing of a child, and then quickly dwelling into a long, loud, and continuous scream, utterly anomalous and inhuman, a howl, a wailing shriek, half of horror and half triumph, such as might have arisen from the hell, conjuredly from the throats of the damned, and the agony of the demons that exult in the damnation. Of my own thought it is folly to speak. Swooning, I staggered to the opposite wall. For an instant the party upon the stairs remained motionless, through extremity of terror and of awe, and the next of dozens stout arms were toiling at the wall. It fell bodily, the corpse, already getting decayed and clotted with gore, stood erect before the eyes of the spectators. Upon his head, with red extended mouth and solitary eye of fire, sat the hideous beast with whose craft I seduced me into murder, and whose informing voice had consigned me to the hangman. I had walled the monster up within the tomb. Is this Fortnite stream fire? No. Hello, Torsten and Yuki-Tak. Hello. This is not Fortnite. This is ASMR. This was the story of the Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe. Yo, that was a cool one. That was a nice one. Yeah. Welcome in, Toast. Welcome. Yeah. Very good. It's so cold. I will use your fire breathing to warm us. Ach, Nala, what should I do with you? Lettuce. Hey, Blurker. Hi. Hot. Sanchez, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the spaceship. I hope you enjoy your stay. As in temperature, yes, of course. I love it when my skin burns off. At least I'm warm. Exactly. At least you're warm, right? Let's see. This was the last Sorry for Tomorrow. Taking my dad to a doctor's appointment, be back maybe. I see. I will be wrapping it up soon, because I don't want to go too crazy on the reading in my voice. The real cat in the background really makes it spooky. True. Bye, Mr. Bantam. Take care, please. Lala? Nala. I'm like one of those things you find in a European restaurant, those poles with meat around. If they shave off, that's me. You are Dönerspieß? Yeah, like the Lion King, exactly. Oh no. They have so many cool books at this public, that's whatever it's called, and that. I see. So you are a VTuber too, I think. Oh, wait a second. Mystery fiction, mythology. Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, okay. Legends of the Gods. The Legends. Ay. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I want to leave. Blood on VTuber for life. I really don't like ASMR. Your reading was very pleasant. I'm so happy to hear this. Yes, I will be uploading this VOD to YouTube in the following days. So you guys can just listen to this again if you want to. Yeah. I want to do, of course, more ASMR streams in the future, just like that. I guess it will be a mix of reading and just like classic ASMR with some kind of triggers like this, and tapping and humming and whatnot, and the cat screaming in the background. The cat screaming in the chat is going to get famous. You know that I upload this on YouTube. I trick-or-treated and got like 3 full-size candy bars and no one recognized me at work. Oh, well, I was hunting candy because I was Luca Canashino. I mean, if you do something like this, I don't know if people are supposed to, if many people are going to how do you say this, recognize you? What do you mean no? Yes, I upload VODs on YouTube. I try to do it more regularly. Again, you can always try again, right? Oh, they also have stuff about witchcraft. I want to check out this Salem witchcraft. Yo, I want to check this out too. Oh, they have maps. Oh, this is so cool. It was good. And I talked to it about it like an old lady, and she was so nice. I couldn't escape the convo. Sometimes it is like that. With some people you can't get out of a conversation. Same with dog owners. I remember I was walking my parents' dog. There was like people coming up to me. They didn't care who I was. They only recognized the dog. And I had to talk to them. And I'm like, who are you? Who the heck are you? Oh, they knew more about the dog than I did. What do you mean dog owners? Yeah, just as I said, some dog owners, dog owners are quite extrovert. That's why I have 3 cats, because I'm not. They were knowing all kinds of things about the dog. They were like, oh, how did his operation go? How is his food now? How is his current stuff? And so I was like, why do you know this? I don't even know your name. I don't even know your name, miss. Who the heck are you? Nala, come here. Is he pooping well too? I am convinced that some dog owners talk about it. Come here. Yo, she needs some cuddles. I guess I'm extrovert. I gotten a kitten, no dog for real. Fingers are weird. A little bit. No front. Kein Front. I don't want to insult dog owners. That's I love a cat. It's Nala. It's Nala. There is a word for introverts, like for a mix of intro and extroverts, but I don't know that anymore. I'm trying to be more extrovert. It works. I think it's at work, for example, if I really want to sell someone a book they are looking at, and I swoop in, Omnivert. Is it Omnivert? And I'm swooping and I'm like, yo, that's a really good book. You should really read this if you like this and this. I'm really trying to. It's kind of a bit cringy, but people like it. I have to do this. Nala, you are so cute. You are so cute, Nala. The book Twilight. No, we don't have Twilight in our store. We do not have Twilight. I am responsible for the fantasy section. No Twilight. No Twilight. Ambivert. I see. Yeah, no Twilight. So my dad changed his appointment. I'm gonna eat. Okay. Have good food. What are you gonna have? But when I get in public and I have to do it by choice, it's flipped. Twilight is in the documentary section. I was once visiting a bookstore and someone put the Bible into the fantasy section. I thought this was quite funny. Hi there, Tasso. Eggs and beans with cheese tacos, some coffee. That sounds nice. Strong balance of both introvert. Yeah, maybe I am. So there's like when I was, for example, I can be here and be doing some karaoke and stuff in front of 30 people or something. I don't care about this. I just have fun. And then, as long as there are no cookbooks in the women's sports section. Women's sports section. Oh, someone also put, this was, oh my god, it's gonna, I thought it was funny. There was a book about women's like soccer. They put this in fantasy too. They put that in fantasy too. I don't know who did it. I thought it's so funny. Oh my god. So yeah, sometimes I am introvert, but then again, for example, when we had this work party, there was a karaoke bar and I was singing there. That was a lot of fun. I was singing in front of like a bunch of old people that I don't know, and I had a lot of fun doing that. So I don't know, sometimes I am super extroverted and then sometimes I'm not at all. It's so weird. I don't know what that is. I will protect you. What's this, Patricia? Who's Patricia? Out of the Times Colored Vampire. That's yeah, something like that. I was singing 99 Luftballons. I was singing Bravery. Yeah, I was brave. I don't know, I just like karaoke so much. And people are like, oh, you gotta be a good singer for karaoke, but you don't. That's the point of karaoke, just to have fun. So I don't know, I really enjoy it. But I will protect you. But she meets the vampire first. Like, yeah, she meets Jacob first, actually, and then the vampire. Looks so pretty. Thank you. Thank you. You're making me blush. 1 second. Let me. What? You're making me blush. Thank you. Okay. You should practice being extrovert by giving the car constant positive affirmations. Nakora, you're doing such a good job. You're the best cat. You're the best cat of the spaceship. And you can do so many cool things with this bot and stuff, and you should not be worried too much when the bot is not working, because it's a learning progress. It's okay. It's okay if something's not perfect from the first time. That's totally okay. Like Bart Simpson being choked. She's 19 years old, that's why. 18 or 19. She's a very, very old cat. That's why she sounds like this. Love me an extrovert. Yeah, I love extroverts too. Extrovert. Sounds like she smokes. She doesn't. She's just old. She's old and grumpy. What is the next stream going to be? I don't even know. Wait a second. I need to check the schedule. I think it's gonna be Saturday. Oh, Saturday. We'll be reading bad fan fiction. Oh God. I am looking forward to this, but I'm also scared. Was Yabaya's hack? I told you it's gonna be weird, but it's also good. You can I would like to know. You can maybe write on Discord why you found it Yabai, or maybe simply DM me. I really would like to know. Yabai. Yeah, on Saturday we're watching Five Nights at Freddy's. Nala, shut up. Where's my vitamin pills? I don't know. Probably, I don't know. And then on Saturday we're reading bad fan fiction. Did you know how old your cat is in cat years? I remember when I took her to the vet once, there was they had a poster with the years on. I think it was when I took her, it was I think 2 years ago. She was around 70 in human years, I think. In cat years, I mean. Human years, she's 18, 19. Cat years, it was 70, I guess, I think. Something like that. I would have to check this again. But she old. She will survive all of us. She will survive all of us. So yeah, the next stream will be Saturday. My review would be a long book report debating the line between scary and gross. I mean, it is a horror book, so it is supposed to be scary and gross. There's much more. There's a YouTuber that I follow, that I subscribe to. She was reading really, really yabai horror books for a week, like really bad horror stories. That was really. She was then reviewing them, and she filmed herself while reading it. That was funny. There was some very, very freaked up stuff. Several times she says, "The author okay?" Okay. So let's see. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I would like to wrap it up now, because reading that much is doing quite a lot with your voice like this, and I don't want to overdo it, since we're gonna be doing some more reading on Saturday. I really had a good time today with the spooky stuff. I like reading to you guys. I have to calm down this cat. Yeah, and yesterday we went on for 6 hours. Let's see, who is even streaming at this time? This is so rare. This is so rare that I stop streaming at this time. Meow, meow, meow. Yeah, we can go meow, meow, meow. We can go meow, meow, meow. Melon is on. Oh yeah, we can go there. We haven't been there in so long. Melon, Melon, Pantsu. Oh damn. She having so many people over. That's awesome. I'm happy for her. I'm glad when she's like, when I see other VTubers like this and they have it going on for them. That's so good. Do I know Melon Pantsu? She was here before. We raided her. She's a bat. She's a little bat. I will follow. Yes, please do so. Okay. Oh, she's playing the Pokemon Minecraft. I want to play that too. Okay, thank you everyone for being here. Nice. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a bit short. Thank you everyone. See you on Saturday for bad fan fiction. I mean, we can stream longer to play Pokemon. Maybe next week. Thank you everyone. Don't forget to be good people and make good choices and just smile sometimes. Okay, bye. Start the raid. Bye everyone. Ooh.